Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm S. James Meyer. I've started reading a random obituary each morning as part of my spiritual practice. I suppose that's a rather unconventional approach to prayer. I'm not even sure that Sister Mary Alice in the third grade would have qualified it as prayer. But I was looking for a way to go a little deeper and to spiritually connect with people I don't personally know. We always pray for the people we know. We pray for members of our own flock, so to speak. And that's valuable. I think that's really important to do that. But beyond that, we tend to pray for concepts more than for people. We pray for the sick. We pray for the hungry and the homeless and so forth. And that's all good. It's very, very good to do. But I was looking for a way to companion with human beings who weren't part of my flock in a personal way, to connect with them spiritually on a level that transcends the convenience of my own siloed life. When I read someone's obituary, right, you slowly read it and contemplate it a bit, I'm able to reach through the mystery and walk with them and walk with their family and feel a little bit of the loss that they feel and celebrate a little bit of the joy that they celebrate. It gives me a window into the wholeness of a person's humanity and the lives they've touched. When you approach it with truly a contemplative heart, it can be really quite powerful. So the obituary I randomly selected one morning earlier this week was that of Dennis Johnson from Howard. Now, some of you might even know Dennis or his wife, Luann. I never met the guy, but I'm thinking he and I think we would have gotten along quite well, would have been just fine. Apparently, Dennis had an appreciation for joy. And on the day Skylab fell back to Earth, he placed a big chunk of cooled molten metal in his neighbor's yard. You gotta love a guy like that. You just have to. And how do you not identify with that spirit? According to the story, his wife convinced him to come clean before the news crews showed up, which is really the only disappointing thing about the whole story. And what does it say about his family, right? That they chose to include that story from a lifetime of stories, but to include that one in his obituary. How can you not pray in shared grief and gratitude for these people? How can you not love them and identify with them? But the thing that really struck me about Dennis and Luann Johnson from Howard is that when they got married back in 1967, right over here at St. Philip's, people told them it wouldn't last because he was Lutheran and she was Catholic. It wouldn't last because they came from different folds. Well, it lasted for 54 years, thanks be to God. I bring this up because there's this line we often overlook in the Good Shepherd Gospel. Jesus is explaining that unlike the poser who collects his paycheck but ultimately really only looks out for himself and takes care of himself first, unlike that, Jesus is the good shepherd who will lay down his life for his flock. But then see, he sneaks this line in: I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. Whoa! It's a straight up reminder to us that all the other people who are not of our flock, those who don't share our faith, don't share our language, our ethnicity, or our national identity, all these other people, well, they belong to him too. He loves them every bit as much, and he will lay down his life for them as well. So way back in 1967, Dennis and Luann Johnson showed the world that two sheep from different folds can love each other, and that love can last. And a few years ago, my own son Jacob and my brilliant daughter-in-law Jenny showed the world that two sheep of different ethnicities can love each other, and that love can last. And in 1986, my dear sister Mary and my brother-in-law, Wildman Don, showed the world that even two sheep of different political identities can love each other, and that love can last. Because life is not about the fold we're from. It's about the Christ-like love we share. Life is not about the fold we're from. It's about the Christ-like love we share. From religions to politics, from languages to life priorities, from ethnicities to nationalities, we keep finding ways to divide ourselves into different folds. And then we try to convince ourselves and everyone else that our fold is the best fold, the correct fold, the preferred fold. Yet the Good Shepherd lays down his life for all the sheep from all the folds, leading them together until we all become one flock. Because that's what love does. It brings people like Dennis and Luann Johnson, people like you and me, and people very much unlike you and me. Love brings us all together. Thanks be to God. Have a great week.